in considering our environmental impact on the planet.
Right, let's speak to one man who's an advocate for all this. His name is John Cossham, and he is a master composter. And there he is. Hi, John. How are you doing?
Hello.
Thanks very much indeed for being with us. Listen, my obvious first question to you is, composting, I understand why you would be keen on it. I understand the environmental benefits of it. But what's the difference between that and burial? Because if you get stuck in the ground in a coffin, surely you just ultimately compost anyway.
Well, composting is an aerobic decomposition. It's very efficient. It's very quick. It doesn't give off any pollutants. Whereas what happens in a coffin, well, you don't really want to think about it, but it's anaerobic and it gives off methane and leachate that leaks into the ground and pollutes. And really, we shouldn't be burying people and certainly shouldn't be cremating people using fossil gas. So I reckon that human composting is an environmentally friendly thing to do.
Just talk us through it then. If I decide that that's what I want to happen to me, what is the actual process? What actually happens to my body?
Well, at the moment, you'd have to go and have it happen in America because it's actually not available in the UK yet. But there is a new process called Recompose over in America on the West Coast, Washington State. And there's a woman there who's invented this, and she's got the laws changed to mean that it's legal. And the body very simply gets put in a box with some alfalfa and wood chips and some other high carbon materials. And it's aerated and turned, and after maybe 2 months, I think, it turns into compost. And the relatives can take home some of the compost if they like. And the rest of it gets put up on a forest reserve to fertilise the trees.
Sorry to be blunt about this, but when you say the body, I mean, it doesn't need to be, I can't think of a better word, but it doesn't need to be dissected or anything like that, because that's not going to catch on, is it?
No, it's just a whole body put in a box. Now, I don't fully understand all the biochemistry that goes on. And I would love to know. I'd like to know more. I'm quite a kind of curious person. But it sounds okay. I've composted pet bodies in my home compost heap. So if you can do it with a cat or a rabbit, then why can't you do it with a human being? I mean, in America, they do compost fallen stock. That means cows and horses and roadkill deer in massive piles of wood chip. And that's where the inventor got the idea from.
Hang on, John. You're not suggesting sticking Granny on the compost heap at the end of the garden, are you?
No, I think we need to be very respectful of people's bodies, and we need to provide a place where people can mourn and celebrate the life of their loved, lost person.
Do you think this is going to catch on? I mean, well, what do you think the barriers might be to it?
I'm not sure what the barriers are. I think it would be very, very popular, knowing that the other ways of disposing of human bodies are polluting, and this is a true recycling method. The body is absolutely recycled and put in the top layers of the soil. It's as close to what happens in nature as you can get.
The process that you described that's going on the west coast of the States, where the body is taken to a place where they deal with the whole thing, it's turned, they go through all that. Is it cheap? Is it cheaper than organising a traditional funeral, a cremation, say?
I think they have priced theirs at around the kind of average price of an American funeral, which is quite a lot. But I don't see why it has to be so expensive. It's quite a simple process. But I'm not an economist, so all I can say is from an ecological point of view, if you want your nutrients returned to the living soil, where they would go if you were a wild animal, then composting and that kind of aerobic decomposition is definitely the way to go.
Wow. Well, that is really, really interesting stuff, and I'm sure food for thought for a lot of people. Thanks very much indeed for your time, John. John Cossham there, who goes by the nickname Compost John, don't you, or the Compost King?
Yeah, I'm Compost John.
Compost John. A rotter, a true rotter in the very finest sense of the word.
I love composting.
going to say, Martin, you can't go about calling our guests rotters.
That's what he does. He composts his own body weight in food scraps every week.
That's very extraordinary.
Amazing guy.
Yeah.
Amazing guy.
And as you say, food for thought. I bet a lot of people will be...
Absolutely. Thoroughly researched all of that. It's obviously his passion. It's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's have a look at the weather. Here's Derek.